Let's go to our first guest. We got Michael Ritzema. He's the president at Superior Trucking Payroll Services. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Hey, whose jersey is that behind you?
That is Steve Garvey. I'm sorry, I'll try and turn
there
it
you
away
go.
there.
Nice.
All-time favorite baseball player since I was a little kid. And I got to meet him 5 years ago at a minor league baseball game. I didn't have this signed then, but I did. I got it signed later. It was just I'm sure it came from when I was a kid. My dad brought me back Dodger stuff from a work trip or something. And he also went to Michigan State, which is where I went to college. So, my all-time favorite.
We're going to say you're a Sparty, too. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Sparty over here.
Right. That's right.
Well, introduce yourself to us, man. What do you do over at Superior Superior Payroll?
What we do is we're the square peg for the square hole. We're a payroll service that specializes in helping trucking companies. We really don't do anybody else. We don't do doctors' offices or restaurants or any of that kind of stuff. All we do is help trucking companies. Our mission is to help trucking families. And so we help with the payroll things because we understand trucking and the challenges of it as it relates to payroll. With other payroll services that are fine for your doctor's offices and whatnot, they're great at understanding restaurants and things like that, but they don't know what a lumper is. And they don't understand when the trucking company calls them and says, we're waiting for bills. We'll get you the payroll in a little bit. We know they're waiting for bills lading so they can pay the driver and things like that. We also get per diem and why it's so great for the trucking company to pay it. Just things like that. We just get trucking. And so we want to be helpful to all the people in the industry that work so hard.
Yeah, it's important to understand the industry that you're in and servicing, Mike. I get that 100%. And a couple of weeks ago, the ATA published an article that argued that the driver turnover is actually a good sign. It's empowering the drivers, right?
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Do you agree with that or disagree? What's your thoughts on that?
I didn't ask beforehand if I can swear on this show, so I'll just say it's a big line of BS. It's just so dumb. I think that their article was trying to say that the turnover doesn't mean people are leaving the industry in the rate of the turnover. And that was kind of their central point. But they go through all this other nonsense to get there that just made me crazy. I'm like, you guys are supposed to be the leaders. Come on, you're the ATA. You're supposed to be the voice of reason and the voice of the industry instead of just being a shill for the trucking companies that let's be honest, there's a lot of trucking companies, which means some of them are not great employers and some of them are. And so people leave the not great employers. And it just bugged me too, because they make it sound like turnover is just no big deal. It's like going to McDonald's instead of Burger King that day. And it's not. Changing a job is a very stressful event. You have to get signed up with a new insurance and go through the waiting period. You have to wonder, is my dispatcher going to be cool or is he going to be or she going to be not cool? What kind of equipment am I going to get? What kind of routes am I going to get? All these things, there's all these unknowns, and they make it sound like, oh, it's good. It's a good thing because we see it as opportunity because people can bounce around wherever they want. And that's nonsense. Nobody wants to do that. You guys probably didn't start your jobs there going, man, I can't wait for the next job in 3 months. That's nonsense.
That's true.
Right? And
you're right.
And it bugs me too. And then they talk about the quote I've got from their article. What does this mean for turnover? Driver A, who's been working at a fleet for only 4 months, knows he can jump to another carrier and get an immediate $15,000 signing bonus plus pay raise. 6 months later, he can do the same thing again.
Yeah.
Do any of you guys know, I know a lot of people in trucking. You guys know a lot more people in trucking. Who's paying immediate $15,000 sign-on bonuses? Tweet me at Trucking Payroll. Let me know who it is because I want to know who those people are too. I'll tell all my friends to go get CDLs just to go bounce around those $15,000 things every couple of months.
Just do it for 6 months, right?
It's a sweet gig, man. You can make an extra $60K a year.
So how do those like? So let's be fair. It's a counter argument. Because people tell us all the time. I haven't driven a truck, but they tell us those bonuses. There's a lot of qualifications. They take a lot of time for those to fade, and they are not immediate. If they are immediate, a portion of it, a percentage of it, is added to each paycheck. It's not like you just handed a big giant check of $15,000 made out of cardboard that you walk down to Bank of America with. How do they actually work?
From what we see from our clients, I don't have clients that are paying 15 grand. First of all, 15 grand would be a team generally, and it'd be over a year or two. We have clients that pay. I have a client I'm thinking of in particular that pays off a $5,000 signing bonus, but they tell you right away we pay at $400 a month for 12 months. We give you $200 up front and then $400 a month for 12 months. And that makes more sense because it's not really a sign-on bonus. And there's a whole discussion about whether sign-on bonuses are a good idea or not. And I say they're not. But no one's paying immediate $15,000. And like the ATA ought to know that. And that's what really got my blood pressure up about this, is that they know better. They're making up arguments they don't need to make up. They did invent the turnover metric, according to them. They invented employee turnover calculations.
Yeah,
and so I've never seen
right.
anybody attribute that. I invented air, so congratulate me. I mean,
well, so what do you think about
invented the internet?
So some big numbers have been thrown around. Some big numbers have been thrown around recently. Of course, the ATA, they love to throw out that $80,000 number. Is that a number that you're contesting? I mean, some people think that, like, oh yeah, there's absolutely a driver shortage, but that's not really true. And I talked to a lot of people in trucking. They will easily argue against the fact that there's a driver shortage. I would argue against it just watching the spot rates go down as we add a record number of fleets, because there's a lot of capacity. It's a capacity-driven market.
Yeah, I think that the $80,000, you drive for Walmart, you can make that.
Oh, I mean the 80,000 drivers, like the 80,000 drivers.
80,000 drivers. Oh, yeah, that's all, to me, that's all supply and demand. We talk about there's a driver shortage, which would mean then that loads aren't getting moved that need to get moved, right? If there's no one to haul them, we don't have autonomous trucks yet. So wouldn't that mean produce rotting on the dock?
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. What happens is in produce, the rate just goes up when they need to get more trucks. So it's really, it's to me, it's a long-term compensation problem that's been going on since like 1980, where wages just didn't increase like they should have once deregulation hit. Trucking used to pay like a skilled trade, and it really doesn't anymore. And that's unfortunate. And there's a lot of reasons why, and it's not anything anybody's going to solve today, but it's, that's the problem, is that, the trucking didn't keep up. And in that article, they cite that rates have gone up 5 times faster since 2019 than they had. What they're really saying in a very political way is rates didn't go up for a long time. Truck drivers weren't. And one of the other issues too that I see is that you don't see trucking companies in general distinguishing between a driver that barely qualifies to be a truck driver and an exceptional truck driver. The exceptional truck driver should get paid more, and they get treated like a commodity in a lot of companies because the shippers treat the trucking companies like a commodity, so everything's competing on price. And I think that's a bad way to do it. If you ask any trucking company owner, how do I want to say this? The worst drivers that you have, if you could get rid of them, how much better your life would be. And they all go, oh man, I'd get my weekends back. I'd get all these things back. I had a trucking company owner who had about 50 trucks say to me, I'm ready to get rid of sell 20% of my trucks and get rid of 20% of my worst drivers. And I'm like, well, you're just going to have the same problem 6 months from now, because you're going to, or your company's going to keep shrinking by 20% every 6 months. And so, just differentiate between your drivers and pay your good ones, or don't make bad hires at all if you can.
Yeah.
And I know that's easy for me to say. I don't have loads to move, but I get it.
Now, you make a good point. And talking about paying the drivers, there's so much detention and time off time that they're out there not getting paid. Should they really be arguing for overtime? Should drivers be getting paid overtime?
That overtime thing is tricky, because what I think would happen is, let's just say overtime becomes mandated, because that's really how it would happen. They're just going to lower the driver rates. Instead of paying 50 cents a mile kind of as a working number right now, they'd start paying them 40 cents and pay them overtime. And it would work out to the same compensation. Unless you're going to get rates somehow to be increased across the board permanently, which is a tricky thing because it's such a supply and demand thing. But I fear that mandating overtime wouldn't increase the driver's pay, and that's my concern.
Yeah, you think they would just dispatch around it, because then they're suddenly not going to want to pay this driver overtime, so they're going to take him out of service and favor someone else who's getting paid less. But how about the per day, right? You posted something on LinkedIn talking about per diem as a substitute for upfront wage. How does that factor in, and why would that be attractive to a driver? How would you position that to them?
Oh, I would tell the driver it's the biggest raise they're ever going to get. Basically, the IRS allows $69 a day to be paid as per diem to a truck driver for meals and incidentals while they're on the road. That's at 5 days a week is $345 that you can pay them, that's not taxable to the driver. So then that's the last $365. So it's the highest tax $345, excuse me. So with that, your taxes go down significantly. You're going to pick up, depending on your W-4, what you claim and what state you're in, locality and whatnot, you're going to save about $90 a week in take-home pay. That's significant. It used to be back in the day that if the trucking company didn't pay per diem to you, you could deduct it on your taxes, but you never got all of it back. You got about half back if you already itemized, and you had to wait until you filed your taxes to get it. With the trucking company paying per diem to you, you get $80, $90, $100 a week right out of the gate. I mean, yeah, you get a little less Social Security on the back end, but I don't think anybody argues that Social Security is the greatest investment anyway. Mm-hmm. So you may take the $100 now and put it into your IRA or something, and you'll be better off. It's also good for the trucking company, by the way. A lot of times they don't end up paying work comp on it, and they don't pay Social Security and Medicare. So it's a win for everybody. Everybody should be doing it, and you should be paying it by the day. There are a lot of companies that pay it by the mile or as a percentage of the wage or whatever. If you're not getting to $69 a day, you're leaving money on the table. And if you're over $69 a day because you're too aggressive in your percentage, you're out of compliance with the IRS. And we all know being out of compliance with the DOT is no fun. Try the IRS once. It's no fun either.
It isn't any fun. You know what is a lot of fun? Sending somebody to the wheel of stupid questions. What do you think?
Go for it.
Let's do it. You're first up today, so you get to break it today. Here it is, my friend. All right, ready? Do you pull in or do you back in when you're parking?
I pull in.
Pull in. Smart man. Me too.
Straight in.
You mess around with that backup stuff? You back in?
No. Only if it's necessary with my pickup truck, right?
Yeah. There's some people who are like adamant about having to back in, like in case there's like a attack or something.
They need to get out fast, bro. You need to get out of town quickly.
Hey, how do people learn more? How do people connect with you and learn more?
Hit me up at truckingpayroll.com, Twitter at truckingpayroll, LinkedIn, find me there. I'm in all those places. You even got a TikTok page. I don't really understand TikTok, but I was told I need it, so we got that too.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
just hit us up. And our mission is to help trucking families. So we have people that call us that never become clients. It's cool. If they have a question, we want to try and answer it for them. We want to be a resource to the trucking industry that allows me to have fresh food in the winter. So,
nice.
Whatever I can do to help, we want to do.
Well, thanks, Mike. We appreciate it. Have a great
awesome stuff.
Get off to a great week. I hope this is a good start to it. Take care.
Thanks for the chat.